when I say I have never seen somebody command the stage with such grace and elegance and earthiness at the same time, I'm like, I got a question.
Yeah.
How do you do that?
Yeah.
But it's fabulous. So I cannot wait to talk to her. I saw her after the show briefly. I waited. And I'm like, hi, I'm Scott. We're going to have a conversation on Sunday. And she's like, oh, great. I'm like, can you talk for 2 hours instead of the 15 minutes that I asked for? Because there's a lot to unpack here.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So very excited about that.
Yeah, I saw an amazing Frida Kahlo exhibit. Her art is so intricate and haunting and beyond maybe what people, I don't even know if she has sort of specific pieces people point to other than her herself being a work of art, you know?
Yeah.
But her art is just so cool.
It is very powerful, strong.
Yeah.
And same with Vanessa. Powerful, strong.
Awesome.
It also sounds like a deodorant a little bit, but there we go. But hey, so of course not much happened this week.
No.
So, but
how are we going to fill the time?
I have no idea, but we would love to hear from you, maybe from our lovely callers. So give us a call at 773-763-9278. The number again is 773-763-9278. Of course, you can find us. Can you find us on Facebook right now? Is our camera going? Right on, yeah. You can find us on Facebook where we're coming at you live. Holla. People you know. I'm so dumb. And whenever I'm at the snack factory and people buy challah bread, I scan it and I go, holla, people you know. Me and Timberland House 20 years ago.
How did they feel about that?
They just kind of look at me like, you are a strange man. Just can we do this so I can run away from here? And I'm like, just want to aggressively sing Missy Elliott lyrics at them. It's fun. But you can find us on Facebook. But we're coming at you live once more. Holla. But if that doesn't float your boat, you can always tune in to WCPT AM 820. You can follow us on Facebook if you're still there. I don't know. There we are. There's a bunch of other things on. But you can also ask your smart speaker to play WCPT on just say, hey, smart speaker person.
What are you talking about?
You can ask how you can listen to us if you're not listening to us now.
Do you mean the podcast?
No, you can ask do you have a smart speaker in your home?
Yes, we do.
Do you ever ask it to play music for you?
Yes.
Yeah, you can do the same thing for WCPT. No. You can just ask them to play WCPT on TuneIn.
Really?
Yes.
I enjoy that story.
Well, thank you.
Play WCPT.
See, there we
WCPT from TuneIn.
Yes.
Devin's on fire today.
Yes, Devin is on it with the sounds. So funny that you played that, actually, because back in November was my 30th college
birthday.
Yes. Yes, my 30th birthday. The 30th anniversary of my 23rd birthday. No, but I had a bunch of people over from Northwestern, my acting class over, and one of my friends is named Alexa. So we have one of those. We're like, Alexa! And she's like, what do you want? What do you want? I'm like, shh, not you! Anyway, how are you? How was your week?
Good.
Good, yes, yeah, good stuff. Tell me something good. What's good happened to you? Something good.
Something good. It was a good week, and I have no stories.
Like you didn't make something delicious for your family?
Oh, I made soup. Thank you.
You're welcome. What soup?
Now, for you, this was you would literally be like, wow, that's super impressive.
Well, it's soup, so of course it's super.
Oh, so
10 years stand-up comedy.
The thing is, I save a lot of recipes. Do I necessarily make them? No, but
where do you save them? Do you have an app?
Facebook and on Pinterest.
Oh, you're a Pinterest girl.
Yeah. Well, no, except that when my family went vegetarian, I needed to look up a bunch of vegetarian recipes, and that's when I really started saving recipes. I know Bill is listening, and right now, if I don't say that he makes most of the recipes,
I
way
to go, Bill!
About it. Yes. Now, lately I've been saving recipes on the Facebook.
Okay.
And because they're just showing me all of these like beautifully colorful soups that have just drawn me to them. And so this one was really simple.
Is it a video where they're like, okay, so first I'm going to, I hate you know when they go, and then just throw in some that, and then you're going to go, enjoy.
No, this one is...
Click and follow. Like and subscribe.
Real straightforward. Real straightforward. You get the link, you go. It tells you what... very straightforward. Okay. And so I made a chickpea soup.
I love chickpea soup.
It's so delicious.
What did you put in this?
I put some celery, some carrots...
Yeah, you're mirepoix, probably some onions, garlic.
Some onions, some garlic, some thyme, some basil, a little bit of vegetable broth.
Great.
And I'm going to tell you, I had like 3 bowls the first time I had it.
Come on now.
And, and I won't share it with my family because I'm a very bad mother and wife.
Yeah, we're a horrible mother and wife.
I meant for it to be for everybody,
It's
but
cute.
now I'm just keeping it to myself.
This is mommy's soup. Here's Tanya's take.
Yeah, exactly.
Back off from my soup.
Back off from my soup.
Step back.
I love a good soup. So now
was any of it pureed, or is it all just like chunky?
No. No. But a lot of it...
has disintegrated.
Diced tomatoes.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a hearty soup.
It was a hearty, delicious soup.
There we go. See, you did do something. That was a wonderful story.
Oh, thank you.
You've shared that with listeners. They are now inspired.
Yes.
To go get the protein and fiber that is from a chickpea.
Can I just say, are they still on YouTube, Scott? Your cooking videos?
They are.
Oh my gosh. I love those videos.
Thank you.
And tell people where they can find them.
Well, you can go to YouTube. You can just look up Scott Duff cooking stuff. Don't do it at work, because I swear. I swear a lot. There's some innuendo.
They're delightful. I loved when you did those.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
They take a really long time.
Yeah.
To make, and there's so much cleaning.
Lots of cleaning.
That has to happen because I'm shooting in my kitchen.
Right.
And it's got to look cute and good. Yeah.
But they were funny. They were quick. They were,
They weren't very quick.
No, I just mean in the sense that, like, it didn't feel like a job watching it. It was, like, entertaining.
Oh, good. Yeah. Yay. Well, go check out Scott Duff cooking stuff.
Go check it out.
Yeah.
So that's my story from the week. I'm sorry I took a second to serve that up.
It's okay. It's all good. I'm telling you.
Did you see what I did?
Serve that up.
Oh, man.
Tanya Richard. Tanya's Take. It's the podcast for everyone. Hot takes on soup.
That's right.
There we are.
That's right.
I didn't get a chance to cook this week. That's usually
That's odd, right?
It's very odd. And I was having a very weird moment because, did I cook? No, not the way I like to cook.
Yeah.
But Jerry's been dealing with, he's got a new job, and our schedules are kind of we're figuring out how to do this scheduling thing. And then Friday night, my days off are Friday and Saturday. So Friday, we went to go see the Frida show. A self-portrait.
Very nice.
So we didn't cook. We just grabbed some fast food on the way, which is not very good for you.
No. We've had 2 takeout nights in a row. Oh. And I'm I don't know.
Look, if a leafy green does not pass these lips very soon, it's going to be bad. It's going to be very bad.
That's what make the chickpea soup.
I did. So good. So
easy,
simple.
so quick.
I know. Well, I've been eating a lot of legumes and all that stuff. I just need a leafy green.
Yeah.
That's what I need. But so we went to go see Frida, kind of date night. And then when we got back, our neighbors were having game night. So we stopped by.
A lovely.
We have the best neighbors on the planet. I love them so much. We went out to dinner with them last night too. To Pizza Michi, which if you haven't gone, it's a new pizza place, West Loop. It's on Grand.
West Loop?
Yeah.
So y'all
We went. It was a destination. And we're talking thin cracker crust, sort of pizza. They had this chopped salad. I did have leaf greens. This chopped salad that was so good.
I enjoy a chopped salad.
They have, caponata. I love caponata.
What's caponata?
Caponata is roasted eggplant. It's an eggplant dish, but with there's tomatoes and it sounds very strange because there's raisins and capers and olives and
get out of here
and vinegar. It's a salty, sweet, soury kind of eggplant thing, and they have the best focaccia.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, it is like gigantically. It is tall. It is fluffy. It is salty. It is so good.
Are we making people hungry?
We should.
I know, right?
Well, it's Sunday brunch with your gay best friends
It
you.
And an ally.
And an
gay
ally.
best friends and an ally. Gay
Yeah.
best friends and an
We got our own
ally.
little web series going on there.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So I did not get a chance to cook, but I had like a lovely time. But I do feel a little. I always get a little panicky. Do you like? They always call like the Sunday scaries. Do folks out there? Do you get the Sunday scaries about going into? I got the Sunday scaries a lot when I was a teacher, and because of that, I still kind of carry it over. Now that I when I get 2 days off in a row, that last day is all prepping for the week.
Yeah.
Because even though I work in a place where there is food, I have to stand in line to buy that food, and I cannot. And you have to clock out, and I only get 30. You know what I mean? So it's like,
yes.
So I like to bring my food.
That's good.
Yes.
It's economically sound.
I know, right? And then in these times, we're going to have to be pretty
My
economically
daughter, my oldest, has a running joke where no matter what, she will say, in this economy.
Yeah.
So it'll be like, it doesn't have to do with money at all.
Right.
But she'll just end it with, in this economy.
Uh-huh.
Will you take the garbage out? In this economy?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's very funny. She's funny.
And she's a funny one.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's where we are.
Yeah.
But, and then, oh my gosh, the plane crashes this week.
Yeah.
Awful. Just
so awful.
Awful.
Do you know that it's the second time that the figure skating team has lost?
Yeah, back in the 60s.
Yes.
Yeah.
Tragic plane crash in the 60s. The entire U.S. skating team died in that crash.
Yeah.
And a number of ice skaters were on that plane.
Yeah.
It's and of awful. Course, their parents and other folks as well. And
it is, it is. It's horrible. And then, of course, the response.
Garbage.
Was total garbage. And it's becoming harder and harder to just understand. I don't understand why people said yes to this. I really don't. I don't understand why they said yes to it.
Because they feel the same.
I guess, but
I think that's the thing we have to remember is like partly I've been like, okay, what's the thing he's going to do that will alienate his folks? Because actually all of the stuff he's done so far is pleasing them. So I don't know what I don't know.
But even just like, I don't know, I guess when it comes down to
social.
But I think I guess I'm kind of turning towards the people who like the people who are claiming to be Christians, who are looking at who in theory are supposed to be modeling behavior for other people. That is what's happening. We talk about this, live your values. Apparently they're living theirs. And their values don't seem to be lining up with Christianity, especially coming from the top down, where you have somebody who, like, instead of coming out at the very beginning of that, like my news intake has jumped this week, and I feel horrible about it, but I think, you know what, kiddos? I think it's time. I think it's time to become a little bit more...
I've become a little
more invested into what's going on. Let me just finish this because we do have to take a break.
Sure.
But Ding Dong, when he came out to that press conference after the DC plane crash, where 67 people lost their lives in the Potomac, like it was horrible. He had to read a response in terms to muster any sort of sympathy or empathy or condolences for those souls lost. And then he immediately blamed it on DEI and launched into like former administrations. And it's like, whoa, pump the brakes, dude, read the room. And I don't see how this is aligning with people's values. I had a very interesting conversation with my sister this week, who is an Episcopal priest. I asked her if we could just sit down and I can record a conversation, because what my thing is, if people are looking for morality and people are looking, to live right or whatever it is, that people are going for these days, is what it sounds like. I want to know how faith leaders are addressing these situations to their communities. So I had a really lovely conversation with her, and I'm gonna sit down. We're actually gonna record some
That's
stuff,
awesome.
and I'm looking and I'm reaching out right now to rabbis and imams and all different kinds of faith
Yes.
structures and faith leaders to see how are you dealing with this, and what does your community say? So that.
No, that's, I don't know, it just reminds me of the notion of in these times, you have to choose the thing that you can do and go deep. And so, like, you're using your superpower of being able to talk to people and be able to suss out information, and you're contributing to a greater good. So it's wonderful.
We'll try. We'll see.
Yeah.
There'll probably be some fart jokes in there too. So
Well, that's important.
it is. There we go.
Oh, Scott.
That was really good.
That wasn't even Devin. That was Scott.
That was
folks.
Scott. That was right with my hands. That was. There we are. Yes, you're welcome, America.
Is that a special skill on
It
your
is a
resume?
special skill, and actually, it's because I have a very clammy hands. Apparently,
nice.
But yeah, when I was a teacher, and I would give quizzes, which I called celebrations of learning, to
Oh my God.
to cut the tension, I would cut the cheese with my little hand farts.
I really wonder how that would have hit me. Would I have appreciated that or not?
Well, all I know is that most of my students spent the entire year trying to figure out how to do this.
Yes, that
which
would have
was, I'm like,
done-
all right,
yes.
it's a winner. I had one kid who could figure out how to do it with his neck. That was upsetting because he came up to me and was like, Mr. Duff, watch this. And he starts whacking his head against it. I'm going, ow, you're going to hurt you. But sure enough, he got a little fart right out of his clavicle.
No, I meant how the celebration of learning
Learning?
would have landed on me. I would have loved it, or I would have been
So mad at you. Like, I hate you so much.
But I think coming from you, I would have appreciated it.
Sure, we'll go with that. Anyway, we do need to go.
Wow, that was quick.
I know, we do need to go. But before we go, this part of Out Chicago is brought to you by Team Hochberg. Hey, attention, listeners!
Oh my.
Financial planners, CPAs, and again, for some reason, divorce attorneys. Always confused by that. Hey, if you are wondering why your mortgage professionals has not returned your calls, are you wondering that, Tanya?
Yes.
You are, yeah. Well, it's probably because they are one of over 156,000 mortgage professionals who didn't renew their license over the past 24 months. If you are purchasing a new home or refinancing your existing home, you need to call Team Hochberg, your trusted local lender. In the past 24 months, while other companies have been shutting down, Tanya, and loan officers are not renewing their licenses, Team Hochberg has been adding loan officers, is stronger than ever, and would love to earn your business. Now let's review. In the past 24 months, mortgage companies have closed, and over 156,000 loan officers exited the mortgage business, while Team Hochberg has expanded and is stronger than ever. If you'd like to work with experienced mortgage professionals, call Team Hochberg now at 855-563-2843 or visit 56david.com. The number again is 855-563-2843 or visit 56david.com. Lower.com, equal housing lender, NMLS 1124061. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, there's more Out Chicago right here on WCPT Heartland Signal.
Collaboration Radio.
So let's go ahead and get him on the show. David Dismalchian.
I'm now sitting in a pretty incredible pool of gratitude. It's just like you imagine me right now, close your eyes, see a dude floating in a hot tub. The gratitude is right up to my chin, and I am grinning.
And you know, the nice thing about those hot tubs is that you can fart whenever you want. Nobody knows you farted, who farted. It's like fart free.
Collaboration Radio. Saturdays at 4.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my side softer?
Can I make my side firmer?
Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. Your Sleep Number setting. And now save 50% on the new Sleep Number limited edition smart bed. Limited time. Exclusively at a Sleep Number store near you. Learn more at sleepnumber.com.
This is a WCPT Civil Rights Snapshot. Most people believe that the most historic thing the Pittsburgh Pirates did in 1971 was win the World Series. However, history was made by the Pirates back in September by starting an all-black lineup, the first in Major League Baseball history, 24 years after Jackie Robinson broke the color barrier. Despite being a historic event, it largely went unnoticed as the newspapers were on strike and the radio broadcast drew little attention to the event, not even mentioning it until the second inning, and the teams themselves not even knowing they had made history. The Pirates won that game 10-7. Rennie Stennett, Gene Clines, Roberto Clemente, Willie Stargell, Manny Sanguian, Dave Cash, Al Oliver, Jackie Hernandez, and Doc Ellis pitching. All these men made history that day and helped lead the Pirates to win the 1971 World Series. An outfielder, Roberto Clemente, became the first Latin American player to win the World Series MVP award. Please stay vigilant about our civil rights. The fight is never over.
This is a WCPT 820 Heartland Signal News Minute.
This administration has made it very clear that they are not going to adhere to the Constitution of the United States of America.
That's Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson speaking recently on MSNBC about the Trump administration's immigration crackdown in Chicago.
It is very obvious that this administration believes that it is a supreme being and does not have to adhere to the rule of law. In the city of Chicago, we made it very clear that we're going to stand up to tyranny, whether that is domestic or abroad. The city of Chicago has a long history of fighting and protecting fighting for and protecting the interest of working people. We are protected by an ordinance, sanctuary city ordinance, and a law that was passed over 40 years ago, by the first black mayor in the city of Chicago, Mayor Harold Washington, and we are living out that legacy.
For WCPT and Heartland Signal, I'm Mike Mercado.
WCPT 820, Chicago's progressive talk, where facts matter.
Hey, this is Mark Patton, and I'm from Spring Clean, My Nightmare on Elm Street, and you're listening to Out Chicago.
And welcome to My Nightmare on Elm Street. Yes, there we are. This is Scott Duff. Ellen Miller is off, but that means we get to spend time with the one and only Tanya Rashard.
Hello.
Hello. Oh! More applause. I think we need to give you flowers all the time.
Thank you.
Because you are a remarkable human being. Not only do you have a podcast called Tanya's Take. Mm-hmm. Stop it, drunk. You have a one-person show called Black Girl from a White Suburb and a memoir of the same name. I got it right this time because were not a white girl in a black suburb.
I was not a white girl in a black suburb, but that would make an interesting show as well.
That would. It would be like Marissa Tomei on a different world.
Bless her heart, Marissa Tomei. Who would have thought she would have gone on to be a wonderful actress?
A wonderful actress, an Oscar winner.
Oscar winner.
Yes.
Although it was not deserved.
Whoa.
I'm sorry. There was somebody else that year that was
Meryl Streep. There were a bunch of people. There's like Meryl Streep. There were a lot of people.
Yeah.
That year.
And there was one. Yeah. Came out of nowhere.
Okay. Well, wasn't Jack Palance who said it too?
What?
Jack Palance. He read the card, I believe.
Oh, really?
I think.
Ooh, that's a deep
I know.
cut.
That's a deep. Well, because that was the year that I think City Slickers was nominated as well, or something, and he was nominated, and he came out doing push-ups, like one-arm push-ups, and he was like crazy. Like you're like, what is going on with this old man? And then it's like, I think it was, but it was stacked. But again, we started talking about it last week with Tremaine Alston from Fat Ham, but we kept dropping out about how comedy actors are always overlooked because people feel good.
Well, but she wasn't. So there you go.
She was not. That's what I'm saying.
Not. Oh, I see. Let's see. The rumor was that Tomei was not the actual winner of the award. Ooh. Oh, Jack Palance accidentally announced Tomei's name.
Yeah. Am I right? Yeah.
That's what they're saying. That's funny. Never heard that.
Oh, well, there we go.
There you go.
I have knowledge.
I mean, I usually do.
These are facts here. Facts over here.
Shock it that I didn't know that.
Yeah. There we go. There we are.
Yes.
Anyways. If you went real news, Tomorrow on Chew's Views, Richard Chew will be joined by New England College political science professor Nathan Schrader to talk about the glaring double standard in the way the news media covered the Biden presidency and the way Trump is covered. Chew's Views, weekdays from 6 to 8 a.m. Central on WCPT 820, right here. It's very true.
Is it?
They yelled. They were yelling at him. They were going after him.
Who was?
The press. They were like going after Biden, and now there's zero pushback, and it's very interesting to see what's going on.
Well, having tucked my brain away until this week, I have not been able to notice whether they are or aren't. But so that's happening.
Did you see the new press secretary lady?
I've seen little snippets.
Oof.
I don't think I've heard her speak yet.
That's okay. Oh my God! Speaking of someone speaking, last night at the restaurant, there was this person behind me.
Yeah.
Who I wanted to get up and throw my antipasti at her so badly. She was so loud and literally was literal. And I'm like, oh my God, Nick Kroll is behind me, and I was going to crawl out of my table.
Oh my gosh.
It was very funny.
Well, we're all very sensitive. You know, I think it's a good moment to remind all of ourselves that we are all very raw. We are all very sensitive. And so whatever you can do to kind of take that moment before you get to fisticuffs. Because
there was no fisticuffs.
No, I know, but
it was just going to be antipasti.
Well, I mean, you know.
That's a fisticuffs. That's food fight.
That's not great.
No, it's fun. It's Animal House. Come on. We're doing all the deep cuts today. I'm making movie references. Marissa Tomei, A Different World. Thank you very much for that.
Ride that way. Don't get me started on Different
Maybe
World.
Marissa Tomei could do the companion piece.
Which companion piece?
White girl
the
and
white girl in a black. I mean, a show like that couldn't end well. I just don't think it would end well.
No, I don't think it would. And Puxatawny Phil saw his shadow again, so I guess that means we've got 6 more weeks of this horrible nightmare. Actually, we've got 4 more weeks of this 4 more years of this horrible nightmare. Kiddos, it's weird, and things are happening very fast, and they're having some strange consequences that it seems like, I don't know about... It does not seem like he knows exactly what he is signing. Like every time he's been signing these executive order things, and they're like, this one says that you can, eat people or whatever. And he's like, oh, yeah, he's like he's surprised, like, oh, okay, that sounds good. And like it seems like he has no idea what he is about to sign.
Also, executive orders don't mean anything.
No, but they do have like enough of an impact that's got a lot of people running for like covering their butts and stuff. Like, because one of the first executive orders was that the federal government no longer recognizes transgender people. It's called the Defending Women from Gender Ideology Extremism and Restoring Biological Truth to the Federal Government. A title that just sings. It just slips off. It just rolls off the tongue there. It defines sex as strictly male or female based on the immutable biological reality of sex characteristics at birth. Just a reminder, the medical community, including all major medical associations in America, acknowledges the existence of transgender and non-binary identities. There's also another executive order that he signed called Ending Radical and Wasteful Government DEI Programs and Preferencing, which terminated the federal government's DEI efforts. So, what's happening? So at the Center of Disease Control and Prevention, that place that the brainworm guy is hoping to run.
Yeah.
So they had to remove terms like transgender, terms like immigrant, LGBT, and pregnant people from their website. Employees from VA hospitals were told that LGBTQ flags and other displays were no longer acceptable. Bathrooms at health agencies were to be set aside for use by a single biological sex, according to federal directives, and the word gender was to be removed from all the agency forms. Now, the CDC, they had to delete mentions of gender from research databases, some dating back decades. But at the same time, they're like, how can we do this? Because there's also government rules that prohibit manipulation of scientific data.
Yeah.
So they are like things that are germane to the health and well-being, particularly of the LGBTQ community, they've had to scrub that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's devastating. I mean, there's no other word to it's devastating.
It's so bananas. And they had like the web pages were deleted, including ones about ending gender-based violence. That's just not LGBTQ. That's the gender-based violence and supporting LGBTQ youths. And there was another one about racism in healthcare and health disparities. Like, it's what?
Yeah.
Look, keep them dumb, keep them poor, keep them sick. That is the road to fascism.
Yeah.
Yep, I'm saying it. I'm saying it.
Yeah. There's also sometimes people are like, well, why are they going so hard after transgender people? And it's because patriarchy and capitalism have to exist on the binary, right?
Oh, yeah.
And so if you don't have the binary, you can't maintain control. And so I just ache. I just ache for people who are being erased.
Yeah, literally. Like deleted. Pages deleted.
It's horrific. And that's, I don't know. Sometimes it sort of just leaves you like having a moment to really take that in and how appalling it is.
Yeah, it's all these cuts that are coming, like with federal agencies and everything. I heard a really lovely story this morning. Not lovely, but it was just like a very sobering story about how, like, they're trying to cut back on government spending with the federal agencies and with like the civil servants. And a lot of civil servants happen to be members of the black and brown communities and everything who have actually been able to advance because of this thing. Now they're going to be, with the removal of these funds and firing of people, that's going to be a whole lot of people that are going to be kicked out again. It's like again, the blatant racism, homophobia, and transphobia that is coming out that people just don't seem to mind anymore. They really don't seem to mind. It's not a deal breaker.
But this is what I mean when I say it appalls us, but it appeals to his base, because all the things you just said fall into their values. They are homophobic, they are transphobic, and there is a large degree of racism. And so, and by their, like in their it is what they teach. And so he's absolutely appealing to his base. And they're thrilled, I'm assuming.
I guess. But I guess it goes beyond the base, because not just his base voted for him.
Well, exactly. But I guess our outrage compared to, I just keep thinking every time I'm like horrified by something I hear, that there's someone across the way who's thrilled.
Yeah.
And that's a tough pill to swallow as well. That, like, that the horror that we're experiencing and witnessing is exactly what some people wanted and are getting.
Wow. I'm so glad that you're here today, Tanya.
Here's what I'll say. I'm going to say two things. Number one, I can't emphasize enough this idea of finding your superpower and, like, what is it that you do well? What is it that you love to do that you don't even consider to be you're like, oh, it's just a hobby, and the example that comes to mind is like during the pandemic, people who know how to sew, and all of a sudden they like took on the responsibility to make a ton of masks and use this, like, what they think of as just something they like to do for fun, as a source of activism. And so I always, this is really the time to think, what is my superpower? What am I really good at? What do I really enjoy? And how can I parlay that into activism and purpose, and I've just, as you've been talking, I've been saying, like, one of my superpowers is writing. And so, I just feel sort of compelled to just say to folks who listen to this show, I have a blog. I don't know how many people it reaches, but if there's something that you want to reach out and have amplified, let me know. It's about finding those ways to connect with people, to support, to amplify, to be an ally. And that is one way through this. We're not going to get out of it for a little while.
Yeah.
But we need to get through it, and those little connections, Agreed.
And actually, that's one of the things that I kind of took away from the Frida show.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. It's like there's going to be pain.
Yeah.
There's going to be suffering. There's going to be passion. But the only way out is through.
And this is cyclical. I mean, a lot of people know this. This happens every whatever years. Like, we are still recovering from the other side's reaction to Obama, right? And we're still in that phase of things. But history proves we will move out of it. And there will be a new arc that I think does follow more of our values than what we're experiencing right now.
Well, I appreciate your optimism.
Well, I'm just talking history.
Yeah, talking history.
History
here's the thing. But
even
speaking about
it rhymes.
Yeah, but even like the whole history thing, like this is the part that the attacks on the LGBTQ community are, like, of course, personal to me. The attacks on DEI, the randomness of that, of course, yes, that really hits me too. What really is freaking me out is they're going after the Department of Education, and that's the part that gets me, because Ding Dong also signed several executive orders on Wednesday aimed at reshaping schools. One of the orders is called Ending Radical Indoctrination in K through 12 Schooling. It's trying to withhold funding from any schools that teach that the United States is fundamentally racist, sexist, or otherwise discriminatory.
Yeah, it's removing.
It's changing history. It is like not. We all know history is told by the victors. Like it is told like that perspective. There are other perspectives that have been long silenced that have been coming up, and now they're going back to talking. They're talking. They want to end indoctrination strategies that are going to focus on uprooting instruction about transgender issues, white privilege, unconscious bias, and to prioritize federal resources consistent with applicable law to promote, this is the scary phrase, patriotic education.
Yeah. If schools want federal money, they now have to reevaluate their programming and pull whatever
it's taking away critical thinking. It is taking away. People don't understand that you can hold two things can be true at the same time. You can be a patriot and love this country and what this country stands for, but at the same time criticizing it for its like horribly like racist, misogynistic, homophobic, like all this past and current situations. You can hold those two things are possible because you see the promise and the hope of what can be. Again, it's like in order to form a more perfect union, it's never been perfect. We've never said that it's been perfect, but to hold these criticisms up, you can help make it more perfect. Because again, equal rights for others does not mean less rights for you.
It's not pie.
It is not pie. Although look at you're not making them soup because they wouldn't get the chance to eat the soup. You just eat all the soup yourself.
Well, that's true. I'm talking about soup.
I know. Yep. I know. But that's the part. That's the thing that's like, I don't understand. Like, it's getting rid of, I keep going back to it. Keep them dumb, keep them sick, keep them poor.
Yeah.
We're changing the education system. We have just implemented a whole bunch of tariffs, which is going to be super duper fun. Where are we? So that's dumb. That's poor. Sick. Oh, healthcare. There we go. It's happening. Anyway, we got to take a break because coming up next on the show, we are going to be speaking with the Senior Director of Youth Programming for Center on Halstead, Luke Romsberg, about the work that they are doing in their upcoming Trans Youth and Family Action Summit. So please stick around. You're listening to Out Chicago right here on WCPT Heartland Signal.
The family meeting.
There's a practical use to social media. And I know it's hard to watch some of the garbage that comes across, the silly videos, and you don't want everybody to tell you every little thing they're doing. And I don't care about you eating the pizza. I don't care about that.
But it's no different than opening up a newspaper or a magazine and going, well, that article I'm not interested in. That article I'm not interested in. I'm interested in one.
Or thumbs down it or whatever you do to it so it doesn't show up anymore.
It's the same thing.
But it's also an opportunity for you to spread the word, right?
Tune into the family meeting Sundays at 4.
With your choice of select sandwich, nugs, fries, and a drink, Wendy's $5 Biggie Bag is your go-to. Your nugget wingman. Your hot and crispy fry co-pilot.
Just like us. We're like the bag boys.
What?
Bag boys, bag boys. What you gonna do? What you gonna do when we bring your food?
For a deal you can count on, bet on Biggie and choose wisely. Choose Wendy's.
Bag boys, bag boys.
U.S. price and participation may vary. Includes choice of JVC or crispy chicken sandwich with 4-piece nugs, junior fry, and small soft drink. Third-party delivery pricing may be higher.
This is a WCPT Veteran Minute. In the mid-1800s, many American women were expected to follow what history calls the cult of true womanhood, where men would go off to work and women would stay home, taking care of the house, their children, and husbands. During the Civil War, many women left their homes to join the fight. Thousands of women from the North and South volunteered to join brigades, while over 400 women disguised themselves as men to fight in the war. In the Union, 20,000 white and African American women worked as nurses, traveling from hospital to hospital, offering care to wounded soldiers, even helping to convince the government to create United States Sanitary Commission to create a preventive, hygienic, and sanitary service for the benefit of the Army. During the Civil War, women were faced with new duties, challenging many men's minds for what should be a proper woman's place.
This is WCPT 820, where facts matter.
I'm Honey West. Welcome to Out Chicago on WCPT.
And welcome back to Out Chicago. Scott Duff here, along with Tanya Richard, host of the podcast Tanya's Take, and star of the one-person show Black Girl from a White Neighborhood.
Nope.
And a memoir in a white neighborhood. What is it? Oh, no, wait.
Try again. Black girl from a white
suburb.
From a white conclave. From a white cul-de-sac.
I am the worst friend on the planet.
Not.
I am horrible.
Mm-mm.
But know who's not horrible?
Who?
The people at Center on Halstead.
Oh,
they really are great. Because let me tell you, this is a new regime. As we said, there's no longer such a thing as transgender folks or non-binary folks, which is just great. But so we need to look for helpers right now. And of course, those are the people over at Center on Halstead. They offer up so many different programs and resources for the LGBTQ community, including the upcoming Trans Youth and Family Action Summit. And joining us now is Senior Director of Youth Programming at Center on Halstead, Luke Rumsberg. Luke, welcome back to the show.
Hi, happy Sunday. Happy to be here.
Happy Sunday, happy Black History Month, happy Groundhog Day. We're just going to try and find some things to be happy about. But before we dive in, how are you doing? How are you and all the staff holding up over there?
I'll be honest. It's been a rough couple of weeks.
Yeah.
But because it's something seemingly new and worse every single day when you wake up, and then you have to go in there and kind of talk with the youth and make sure they're kind of understanding the state of things. And it's been tough. It's been somber, but we are also ready to fight and ready to fight back against what's happening now.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I firmly believe that, loins are firmly girded over at Center on Halstead. So what have you been hearing from the community is, some of the most pressing issues? What are some of the things that have been coming up that are concerning folks the most?
Sure. So within Youth and Family Services, we also have our housing program. Mm-hmm. And with the housing program, one thing that we tried to get ahead of and get a jump on was passports. for the youth to kind of a fail-safe, if they need to leave this country, unfortunately. And that's been a big focus of ours right now. And unfortunately, they are holding passports. They are holding people's documents, or they're being sent back with the incorrect gender marker. So it's already kind of starting. That's one of the most tangible things that I have seen already. Aside from that, though, just the emotions are high, especially with folks who are under the age of 18 who feel, unfortunately, at the mercy of this administration, who are lacking in power sometimes to be able to defend themselves and speak up for themselves, given their age.
Yeah. Man, sorry, I'm just kind of taking that in for a second. It's just, oof.
It's always the first folks. I feel that so strongly for, like, if you're a young person who is transgender, to be hearing these things from the highest power and to feel their hatred, and it's unspeakable.
Yeah, well, and families as well. We have several mutual friends who have transgender kids, and it's a very scary moment. So I guess since we're focusing on that right now, can you talk about the upcoming Trans Youth and Family Action Summit? I know it's going to be happening in March, but tell folks what you all have planned for that.
Sure. Yeah. So this is something that happens every year, and it's relatively new, but we're going to continue it every year. It's occurring on March 8th, and it'll be happening from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. And the idea is that we're bringing together the community for the Trans Youth and Family Action Summit in a way that we have not before. In the past, the summit has been kind of, bubbly and hunky-dory in a sense. And now this is very much a call to action and what we can do to combat what is happening and what is being put out every single day that either isn't true or is directly an attack on the trans community. So within the summit, it's open to all, again, youth and family who either are trans identified, non-binary, gender expansive, or parents, or if you are the parent of a kid or you're trans yourself, you're more than welcome. We really want this to be an expansive invite list where folks can feel comfortable and safe and have a joyful space also where they can learn and learn how to advocate for themselves and build community, but also feel empowered in fighting back against that, what is happening. So within the summit, we will have a number of different speakers and workshoppers. The Water Commissioner, Precious Brady Davis, is giving our opening remarks, and we will have workshops including like legal rights and protections for trans youth, how we can support trans youth in school and social environments, mental health and self-care, self-defense, legal and community resources, how to navigate the medical system. We plan on having a youth panel as well for youth to come listen to their peers speak about what's happening, as well as parent discussion groups. And also we'll have, some fun things as well, like art activities and games and music and things like that too.
Have you found that there's one or two things that you have been consistently saying to people as they come to you with your fears, their fears and concerns, sort of that go-to thing that you found has had some impact? Or
one thing that I have been saying to folks, I will say a lot of, in addition to, I said that like the minors who are afraid, their parents are so afraid as well. I oversee a group called Transformers. It's for parents of trans kids of all ages, so as young as 5 upwards to 35. And people are unsure, right, about what's going to happen. And I'm a therapist as well, and what you know from that is like the fear of the unknown can cause a lot of anxiety for people, especially when there's blatant attacks every single day. So with what I've been trying to talk to people about is just reassuring them that, Center on Halstead is not going anywhere. We will still be fighting. We fought through this with one administration already. Yes, he seems to be ramping up the attacks this time even more so than last. But I'm just trying to reassure the youth, the parents, the community at large that Center on Halstead, we stand tall in the middle of North Halstead area, and we are not moving. We are not leaving. We will continue fighting harder than ever for you and the community. And that's just what I'm trying to reassure people, that our programs are solid. We have a plethora of youth programming that isn't even, part of this summit, that happen throughout the week, every week, and we'll continue to be there, and we'll continue to support as we also learn what's happening every day. Because it's something different. We're trying to keep up on it as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's got. I do not envy you and all of the staff at Center on Halstead and all the incredible agencies doing good across Chicago and across the country, but. Yeah. Sorry, I'm getting really overwhelmed right now, but I just want to say thank you for what you are doing. Like this determination and the call to action and unification of our community, I think, is what's going to be necessary, and to let folks, let trans kids, trans youth, that parents of trans folks, that we've got your back and that we're there for you. Luke Romsberg from Center on Halstead, thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you for the incredible work that you are doing, and if there's anything that we can do to help get the word out, please do not hesitate to call on us anytime. We will be there in a heartbeat for you. Yes, Luke Romsberg.
Thank you so much. Yeah, if you want to help out with the summit, please go to our website. You can find more information about the summit. You can volunteer. We're also inviting agencies to table. If you're interested in being a workshopper, please reach out to me. You can find my email at centeronhalstead.org. And thank you for having me.
No, thank you so much. We've got to take a quick break, and when we come back, it is the second hour about Chicago right here on WCPT.
The Randy Rhodes Show.
Oh, congratulations to the Fox and Friends weekend morning host, who's now our Secretary of Defense. He's a veteran, everybody. I know, I'm a veteran too. I'm pretty sure I wasn't on any of Kamala's short list for any cabinet position, but oh my God, these pits, it's almost like, well, there's a word for it. It's called patronage. Right here, right now on WCPT 820, weekdays 7 to 9 p.m. Central Time.
Are you tired of talking to yourself? We can get you an audience on the radio. You can produce and host your own radio show on one of our 2 stations. Please call 773-792-1121. That's 773-792-1121 and ask for Mark. Limited space available.
From the heart of Chicago, it's WCPT 820. Progressive Talk Radio, where facts matter and voices fight for change. WCPT 820.
NBC News Radio, I'm Lisa Carton. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy is calling for changes in air traffic control following a pair of aviation disasters. Appearing on CNN's State of the Union, Duffy said the U.S. uses outdated methods of air traffic control, adding that needs to change in order to ensure the safety of travelers using American airports.
Our air traffic control system, it's antiquated. A lot of the systems we use date back to World War II.
Duffy said while officials have not determined the causes of the Washington, D.C. and Philadelphia plane crashes that rocked the country last week, there are problems with the FAA that may have contributed to the incidents. He went on to say we won't know the full story until the NTSB finishes their investigations. Both Canada and Mexico are issuing retaliatory tariffs against the United States. Here's Chris Caraggio.
The news comes just hours after President Trump signed off on 25% tariffs against Mexico, Canada, and China. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau said Canada will also implement 25% tariffs against the U.S., including $30 billion worth of goods that will cross the border Tuesday. Meantime, Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum said she felt forced to implement the tariffs to defend her country's interests, but that she is seeking collaboration, not confrontation with America.
The federal government is ending cultural diversity celebrations. This weekend, the Department of Defense and the Department of Transportation announced officials will not commemorate Cultural Awareness Months going forward. The move will end recognition of things like Black History Month, Women's History Month, or Pride Month at federal offices.
I'm headed back down. There's a shadow up here. Get ready for 6 more weeks of winter this year.
A record-setting crowd of 50,000 people, including Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro, celebrated Groundhog Day in 20-degree temperatures at Gobbler's Knob in Puxatawney, Pennsylvania. You're listening to the latest on NBC News Radio.
This is Chicago's Progressive Talk, 820 AM, WCPT Willow Springs, and online at WCPT820.com, where facts matter.
Hey, WCPT listeners, stay ahead of the curve with our new offering, The Lead. It's your weekly roundup of the news you might have missed. As an independently owned progressive outlet, we bring you breaking stories and analysis you won't find anywhere else. Sign up now for The Lead at heartlandsignal.com.
Amy Goodman reports on the news stories rarely covered by the corporate media. Democracy Now!
The UN's Humanitarian Affairs Office warned Palestinian children are at high risk of injury or death from unexploded ordnance left after more than 13 months of Israeli attacks. 8-year-old Mohammed Karmash, this is his mother.
No one was there to tell him that these are explosives that the Israelis throw.
Democracy Now! Weekday evenings at 10 on WCPT 820, Chicago's Progressive Talk.
This is a WCPT Veteran Minute. After working several odd jobs in New York City, Henry Johnson found his way into the National Guard during World War I. Johnson was assigned to the 369th Infantry Regiment, but the all-black unit was better known as the Harlem Hellfighters. The Hellfighters' first task was assisting the French Fourth Army. On May 15, 1918, Hellfighter Johnson noticed Germans attempting to break in. Johnson retreated to get backup from the French troops, noticing German soldiers were attempting to kidnap another Hellfighter. Despite standing at only 5'4", Johnson sprung into action. With only 3 bullets and a bolo knife, Johnson was able to kill 4 enemy soldiers and wounded 21 others, causing them to retreat, saving himself and his men. However, Johnson received a total of 21 injuries all over his body, including his left foot being shattered. Johnson was discharged, and his papers did not show his heroism or his injury, leaving him unable to receive any disability compensation, leaving Johnson penniless at the time of his death at age 36. Johnson's heroism went unnoticed for decades until President Barack Obama awarded him the Medal of Honor in 2015.
You're listening to WCPT 820, because facts matter.
I'd like to welcome you to WCPT AM's Out Chicago. Think of us as Sunday brunch with your gay best friends. Now please welcome your host, Scott Duff.
And welcome back to Out Chicago. Scott Duff here, along with Tanya Richard, podcaster, host of the podcast, Tanya's Take, Stuff and Junk, and the one-person show, Black Girl from a White Suburb.
Whoa, you got
it.
it.
A memoir coming up with the same name.
Yeah.
There we are. I know. I love that. And we'll be back with us next week. But I'm sad because Tanya Richard has glasses wipes right here. And I'm cleaning my glasses so I can see. It's amazing.
Speaking of superpowers,
Yeah.
you want to know what another superpower is?
You always have gum?
I always have snacks.
Oh, yes. That's mom action right
that's
there.
That's a mom. And in that moment, though I don't always have lens wipes, I feel I was using that power of just having the right thing.
The right
that
thing?
You need.
Thank you. But let me tell you, we've got the right thing that everybody needs right now. Because right now, everybody needs to run, not walk, or maybe just take a train.
Sure.
Up to Glencoe and go to Writers Theater. That was a seamless transition.
I thought it was pretty good.
It's pretty darn good. Look, they are Writers Theater right now. They're continuing their 2024-25 season with Frida, a self-portrait starring acclaimed writer and performer Vanessa Severo as both herself and as legendary Mexican painter Frida Kahlo, directed by Joni Schultz, Chicago. Whoop, whoop, there we go. And joining us now is none other than Vanessa Severo. Vanessa, welcome to the show.
Hi. Hello.
Okay, hold on. Before we begin, buckle up, because I'm going to goof all over you right now. Vanessa Severo, how dare you be so freaking talented? Like, you are one of the most, I have never seen quite a performance as commanding, as elegant, as graceful, as visceral, as earthy, connected as what I saw on stage at the Writers Theater with Frida as self-portrait. Thank you for this beautiful gift.
You. Oh my God.
I'm telling you. I told you, like, I need to talk to you for 2 hours because this 15 minutes is not going to be enough.
I loved it. It was a good opening night. You were a fantastic audience.
We were really good. I will.
You were really good.
Yeah, I'm responsible for your success. That is correct. Yes,
I think so.
Yeah, that's what it is. Look, congratulations! It really is quite a phenomenal thing, and I do have to theater nerd out. I got so excited when I saw like a little bit of a Suzuki stomp coming at the very beginning of the show, and I'm like, Suzuki! Wah! Like I got my theater nerd came out so hard that I just was like, okay, I want to talk to her about all her Suzuki training and everything, but we'll get to that later. You begin the show with asking the audience, do you see Frida in me? So I've got a question for you. When did you see Frida in you?
I didn't until I was out with my gay best friend, Alex, and he was having coffee with me 13 years ago, and he was like, Vanessa, over coffee, he makes puppets for a living, but out of nowhere, he was like looking at me, and then he goes, I see a Frida Kahlo in you. And I thought that was a really weird, I was like, what? And I didn't really know that much about her at the time. You know, the Frida mania wasn't a thing at that time. So I started to research her, and as I started to research her, I found this amazing woman that was ahead of her time and really tweetable in the 40s. And what I liked about her is that she was doing this thing that a lot of women, that no women were doing at the time, where women at the time like had to sit pretty and just look good, right? For like a portrait or a photograph. And she was doing something that was really honest. And she was like, I'm in pain, or I've had surgery, or I had 4 miscarriages. And she like painted her pain and was like, this is what I'm going through. And I think a lot of people look at her paintings now and go, how brave is that to like be honest and crack your rib cage open and go like, this is what I'm going through, and do you feel that too? And I was like, wow, she's fascinating. Why can't she be, you know, like resuscitated to today? And so like the first time I did it, it was just Frida. It was just, I just took 6 tragedies in her life from age 6 to age 46, and I just did Frida. And it was, you know, it was my crappy first draft, and it was okay, but people loved it. And then I sat on it for like a few years, and I brought Joni Schultz, my director, on, and she was like, well, who's she talking to, Vanessa? Who's Frida talking to? And I was like, I did like the worst thing you could do as a player. And I was like, well, she's talking to the audience. And she's like, but who is that? And I was like, oh, that's a big no-no.
You know,
so then I was like, oh, I gotta find like there's got to be a narrative, you know. So then I started to research a little bit more, and I found out that in the 50s there was this architect magazine called ID Architecture Magazine, and they had talked about like wanting to go to Casa Azul and interview Diego and Frida about their house. But she died before it could happen. And I was like, well, what if she didn't? Like, what if some white dude from America goes to Mexico City to interview Frida Kahlo about Casa Azul, but ends up getting Frida instead? And so then I had a thing, and I was like, that was my in. And that was like my 2019 version. And then the play got booked all over the place. Like, go to like you know, glamorous places like Cleveland, and you know,
hashtag goals, right?
So, right? Then the pandemic happened, and everything just went away. The pandemic, and so like I sat with it, and in 2021, I was like, I'm not doing the thing that I need to do, which is tell the truth about why I see a Frida Kahlo in me. And the truth is that I'm a Latina artist with a disability, and I was like, I got to talk about it. Otherwise, I'm not telling the whole story. I'm just telling like one half. So then I rewrote it in 2021 with Joni's help, and then Portland, Oregon, Portland Center Stage picked it up in 2021, and that's like the version that you see today. Like I just decided to make it kind of also Vanessa's self-portrait as well as Frida.
Yeah, it really is the way you seamlessly go back and forth between Frida and you know, kind of, I don't want to say it blurs the lines between the two, because you are two very distinct, different people, but you can see the connections, the bloodlines, literally the bloodlines that you have on stage, near the end. Like, I mean, it really is. I'm getting tongue-tied because I'm just flabbergasted. I'm sorry. I'm trying not to goof all over you some more, but it's just but it really is just like the way that the entire piece is constructed. Just from like the nuts and bolts of it, it is fantastic. How did you come up with the movement vocabulary? Because there's some repetition of moments of like, and now we're back into a story. That when we're entering into a fantasy world, or we're back into reality, or we're back into Frida's world, or we're back into Vanessa's world. How did you come up with the vocabulary?
Yeah, I mean, I love gestural work. That's an awesome question. Thank you. Like, I love gestural work, and I feel like it's a universal language, and I that's what I love about movement. Like, you can speak any language, and we understand what's going on when we use movement as like the vehicle to learn how to watch a play. So I came up with a gesture for Frida that as soon as I have to pop back into her, that it's the same thing where I kind of wipe my brow. But then, like, for things that were difficult to talk about, and I did write these whole things out, about like her bus accident and, her miscarriages. And then I was like, the words are diluting it. And I thought, the most powerful thing I can do is tell it through movement. So I have a dance background. I was a major in dance, and then I switched it to a minor. But I wanted to use movement and like modern dance in that way to be able to convey things that were too painful to talk about. But also, because I had a dance background, I knew that her dad, when she was 6 and she had polio, he did these like really rigorous exercises with her. And he made her like ride a bicycle, which was like unheard of when you had polio, because it was super hard to do. And I was like, well, I don't want to use dance for that. I was like, I want to use something that is like hard. And as you know, Suzuki method for actors is like, it's like boot camp. Like, it's so hard. So I went to Canada and I trained under Ellen Lauren at City Company, and I was like, she was vicious, like she was just hardcore on me, and I learned Suzuki method under her, and I was like, that's what it has to be. I was like, whenever Frida needs to recalibrate and like use her pain as a vehicle to keep pushing forward through difficult times, I thought Suzuki method would be the thing to ground her. So that's the other thing that I put in the show. So there's like lyrical kind of soft dancing movements, and then there's also like this hard, rigorous animal grounding thing that happens with her. And that's kind of the vocabulary that I came up with.
Yeah, and kudos to you. I mean, it really is just, it is so effective and so profound. And just even thinking about how watching you as a performer, you are so present and in your body. Like, you are just in your body 100% in a way that I guess Frida was also in her body 100%, but in a completely different way. Yeah. Because her story is of such excruciating physical pain. Yeah, that it was like, I'm like, the movement pieces were my husband just about lost it during the miscarriages. He was like, "Oh no, let's go! No." I'm like, "Baby, it's okay. Like, that's just a nice lady. She it's okay." But it was like it really is very, very powerful, and I love that you take something so universal as a physical image, as as the body, as movement to reach us in a very, very deep and emotional way. It's just, it really is stunning. And thank you. I'm babbling again.
Will you be continuing? Like, so after this run, are you headed somewhere else, or what are your plans?
I will be in at Milwaukee Repertory Theater in the spring of 26, and so that's they just announced that, and that will be in the spring of 26. I'll be there from March until end of May. But there's other theaters that just from being here in Chicago, like a lot of it kind of popped up on the radar, which was interesting because I was like, I really kind of thought that I'd be hanging up the Frida flowers after this one. And so, it's something to think about of like, okay, do I continue it? But, I also want to honor her and put an end to it when it's the appropriate time, like we can't all Patti LuPone it,
Right.
God bless her.
Yeah. So, I mean, clearly you've had this, it sounds like a 13-year journey with Frida, and then I guess like a 6-year journey with this play itself in terms of like from the first draft to what it has become now. What are some of the lessons that you have gleaned from Frida?
Goodness. It's I think the biggest one for me is I got really, really good at hiding my disability in an industry where we have to be this cookie cutter type. And, I'm of an age where it's like in the 90s, they were just like, you have to fit this stereotype. And if you did it, they were like, good for you, you're making it, And so I conditioned myself really well to be able to fool directors and come in and like hide my left hand. I had I was so good. I'd have like a coat over my hand, or I had pockets in my dress.
Can you just tell our listeners a little bit about your disability?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was born with a congenital disorder, and if you've seen like Nemo, it's my tiny fin. So it's like my left hand didn't fully form. I have like part of the thumb, and then I've got 4 small nubbings as the rest of my fingers. And it is something that a lot of people are born with, and it can be on either hand or it can be on feet. And, I just never saw anyone like me in the theater industry ever. And so I really tried to format myself into a place that I fit. And the biggest lesson, I think, is just like what Frida does, where it's like, hey, we don't have to be this thing. We can be exactly who we are and like put it out there unapologetically. And then that's the world we're actually living in. And therefore people, when they encounter it, it's not going to be like, oh my God, they're different, And so I think the biggest lesson for me was not just also falling in love with Frida and her bravery and how she pushed through difficult situations and her disabilities and her tragedies, but that with me, I was able to like fully let myself be open and show exactly who I am. And that was the biggest lesson. And it's actually changed the way I perform. I mean, I was very lucky. I was working great before, I was doing like Maggie the Cat. And it's not like I was missing opportunities, but I feel like now there's this way we condition ourselves. And we all have something, I think. We all have something. And we condition ourselves to mask and go out in the world. And it's the unschooling of that I feel like if I'm on stage, I'm like, you don't have to do that, Vanessa. You can just be exactly who you are. And it's a teaching moment for all of us, even myself included. So that's been the biggest thing for me. It's been life-changing. It's been the biggest life change of my career.
Yeah.
And that's what I learned from it.
It does feel almost like a Frida portrait of being cracked open and like something, a release coming out of it.
Is that something, so once you would, it's interesting, you were talking about how you had found these ways to compensate for it, but then once you were cast, what kind of conversations were you having, or were you continuing to compensate and other actors or director or producers would never divulge that?
I'm sorry, what is the question? What happens when they saw it?
Well, I just wondered, like, how much you were compensating in terms of, like, you talked about in an audition process you would compensate.
Oh, yeah.
I just wondered what would happen once you were cast. Was the burden, did it continue to be on you?
It was, it's so funny because I could probably write a book about the timing of all of it because I could see it and I knew the minute somebody saw it. Like, I knew the very split second. I would come in and audition. I loved to wear dresses with pockets. I would typically keep my left hand in my pocket. Or I would have a prop, and that was easy to hide as well. So as soon as I got cast, I would hide my hand for approximately 2 weeks. 2 weeks in, by that point, the director loved what I was doing. We all got along. everything was working, and the minute they saw it, they always do a double take.
Yeah.
They always are like, did I just see that? And you could see it in their eyes. They're like, did I just
right.
Is that what I think I see? And they usually ended up having a convo with somebody in the cast. I'm like, is her hand like that? And I would always hear from another actor, and they're like, yeah, that's Vanessa's hand. And most of the time, they would just go with it because the performance was, formed and compelled enough that they didn't have a problem. I did have one person get very upset, a director, and he thought that I should have a prosthetic hand in my all things my makeup kit. And I was like, what, in my Ben Nye kit? Like, come on.
What?
And I'll say that's why I asked, not so much of like, because the burden continues to be on the person and how unfair that is. And so that I wondered if you were able then to sort of bring your authentic self into those spaces. But the fact that even for those first 2 weeks, you still had to do that, it just sucks, to be quite honest.
Yeah, it does suck. And I have to say it is not that, once I became more established and directors did know, and a lot of them, like Joni had absolutely no problem whatsoever. She was like, great, but Joni is like the dream director. Like everyone wants to be directed by Joni Schultz. Like she's one of the smartest humans on the planet.
Yeah.
And but once I worked with a director and I was recast by them, and ones that had a problem, I just never worked for again,
Exactly.
So. Yeah, but it's just not the case anymore. And now because I'm doing a disservice to all of us if I do that, and the world needs to change. It needs to change, period.
Yeah.
You have to go like, this is life.
Yeah.
I remember for years, the actor on MASH, Radar, I don't know his specific condition, but he always hid it the entire run of the series. And it's like, hey, how about if Radar just didn't hide it, But I don't even think it was a conversation on the table back then.
There is an actress, I'm going to blank. I'm going to be perimenopausal on you and not remember the name of the show. But there was a show about that guy on the dating show that ended up being a total psycho and killed women.
Oh, is it Anna Kendrick?
Yes. So actress in that show, and I'm watching it, and I freaked out. I'm like, I was like, oh my god. I'm like, she has a hand like mine, and I paused it, and I'm like, rewind, and I look, and sure enough, the actress that ends up catching this guy at the end, she's got a hand just like mine. She's unapologetic. Like Anna Kendrick doesn't hide it, but then I clocked it right away, and it was just like this moment of relief where I saw myself on the screen. I was like, okay, it's happening. Like we are okay to do this. Yeah.
Well, amazing across the board. Congratulations.
Yeah, and congratulations on this show. Again, it really is. It's something special, and it really is I think, required viewing for this time, because I'm going to screw up a line, but there was a moment in Frida, a self-portrait, where you talk about pain and passion, and there was another word, and I can't remember what it is. It's near the end, but it was like
at the end of the day, we can endure more than we think we can. Pain, pleasure, and death are no more than a process for existence.
Yes, that is it. And thank you. That's right, because you wrote it. You know it. But it was like watching it, I'm like, yes. I think one of my biggest takeaways from the show is that pain is inevitable. Like pain, it exists, and it can be ever present, but we can go through, and the only way out is through. And
correct.
And to again live your truth, speak your truth. Frida's paintings, that whole moment of like, why do you like this? Do you think it's pretty? No, it is truthful. There's something about that. And watching this entire show, it's like, all right, let's look at the beautiful, ugly truth that is happening right before us. embrace the pain and carry on. And that is what I carried away from that. I hope I didn't overreach.
You didn't. Thank you so much.
No.
That's high praise. I love it.
No. I could talk to you. I got to let you go because you got to go do this play real soon. But like I said, I could talk to you for about an hour, just on your Suzuki stomps alone. And then, but I'm telling you, folks, Run, Don't Walk, to Frida, a self-portrait, written and beautifully performed and beautifully written by Vanessa Severo. It runs through February 23rd at Writers Theater. For more information and for tickets, go to writerstheater.org, and that's theater with an R-E because they're fancy that way. And Vanessa, thank you for being one of the strangest people in the world. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Thank you. Have a fabulous run. And take care of your body. You do a lot of stuff up there. So
I'm doing it. Thank you. Thanks for calling.
All right. Vanessa Severo from Frida, a self-portrait, now playing at Writers Theater. Break all the legs and have a fabulous run. And we are going to take a quick break. When we come back, there is more Out Chicago right here on WCPT.
The Sports Cubicle.
Here in WCPT, we're fortunate enough to have the new head coach of DePaul University, Chris Holtman. You have that tough December where you're going to have 2 conference games, and then does that seem like it's going to work for you? Are you going to be having up tempo, or do you even know that yet?
We are really trying to play with great pace, more so than really at any point in my career. That's something we've really emphasized since the summer.
The Sports Cubicle with Mike Mercado, Devin Tingle, Dan Marver, and Paul Shavari. Sunday nights, 9 p.m. on WCPT.
This is a WCPT Civil Rights Snapshot. As buses arrive in Chicago from the Mexico border, one may wonder what obstacles these families had to face in their travels. Many migrants come to the States knowing very little English, and for this reason, their stories aren't being shared. However, one family shared their story about their journey from Venezuela to the States. Xavier Linares and his family traveled through jungles and deserts to seek a better life in America. Xavier shares his struggles of food insecurity and leaving home and his loved ones behind in Venezuela. Xavier's family traveled 5 days and 4 nights through torrential rain and slept under a tarp when weary. After reaching the border, the family was able to enter an asylum request with U.S. immigration authorities. This is a story of hope, perseverance, and gratitude. Xavier said, "I don't have anything, but I have a lot of strength and desire to move ahead, working and studying. Please stay vigilant about our civil rights. The fight is never over."
All this year, WCPT is celebrating our 20th anniversary. The station launched the Progressive Talk format on May 3rd, 2005, as an affiliate of the Air America Network.
And soon began airing nationally broadcast radio programs hosted by Tom Hartman,
Stephanie Miller, Randy Rhodes, Ed Schultz, Rachel Maddow,
Al Franken, Janine Garofalo, Mark Maron,
and even Jerry Springer.
After Air America went off the air in 2010, WCPT produced programs hosted by Chicago media fixtures like Dick Kay.
And launched what is now the station's longest-running local show, Out Chicago,
with Scott Duff and Ellen Miller. More recently, Jonas Posito, Edwin Eisendrath, Hal Sparks, Richard Chu, and me, Patty Vasquez, have been added to the lineup.
And Stephanie, Tom, and Randy are still with us.
WCPT will be marking this 20th anniversary milestone with special features
and a very special event in May.
We'll be announcing all of the exciting details about that soon.
So stay tuned.
And thank you so much
for helping make WCPT Chicago's Progressive Talk for 20 years.
Alexa, play WCPT.
WCPT from TuneIn.
I'm Molly McCormick.
And I'm Danny Parpan.
And we're an indie folk group called The Fruit Flies.
Welcome back to Out Chicago on WCPT.
Welcome back to Out Chicago. Scott Duff here, along with Tanya Rashad. She is a black girl from a white suburb. There we are. There we are.
Yes,
there we are. Hey, did you? That was so great that you was listening to that WCPT commercial. It's kind of exciting.
Scott's been on the air for 12 years.
Well, 11. We're in the middle of 12 right now.
And he's
We're starting
the longest running show on the station.
Bananas.
So cool.
It's bananas. But we've got so many other things. Like, let me tell you, Patty Vasquez is going to be back tomorrow, and she's going to be talking to Joyce Mahoney, who is the Regional Vice President of Memory Care and Programming at Belmont Village Living, psychologist and author Susana Flores, and positivity expert and podcaster Jen Zanotti with some motivational Monday advice and driving it home with Patty Vasquez, weekdays from 5 to 7 Central right here on WCPT 820. I have told you that I have been a bad friend.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And it's because we were supposed to, we were going to talk about a complete unknown movie.
Yep.
I did not.
Remember last week, everybody? We were like, oh my God, we're going to
so
do
many
like
technical difficulties.
Like a movie club.
It'll be a movie club.
And we're going to watch a complete unknown.
Yeah.
And I took that so seriously. And we watched it last night, and Scott didn't watch it.
I almost texted you last night to be like, I can't find it.
I almost checked with you.
See, that falls on both of us.
No, it doesn't, because I thought you would. But here's the thing.
Oh, no.
I had a lovely evening watching a movie with my husband. So really...
This has been a confession of mine that I've made on the show.
Yes.
Before. Bob Dylan kind of drives me crazy.
Can I tell you?
Yeah.
The first time I ever saw Bob Dylan was in the We Are the World video.
Yeah.
I am not kidding you. I did not know who he was.
Right.
I thought he was a homeless person.
Who's this man that came into the studio?
I did.
And why is he there?
The term then was homeless. Now we say unhoused. But I was like, why did they let a homeless man in here? I just, not that, I mean, maybe.
No, but great. Maybe he is part of the world. He is part of the world.
I just had no idea who he was.
Yeah. And I understand, I get it. It's not as bad as Lin-Manuel Miranda.
Okay.
I've got my thing about Lin-Manuel Miranda.
I have not heard this.
Oh, really?
No.
Look,
I think I know, but
he is an incredibly talented human being, and by all accounts, a really wonderful guy.
Yeah.
I do not need to meet him.
All right.
I don't know why. There's something about if I did, there would be just too much direct eye contact and so much freestyling, aggressively at you. I have a recurring dream being trapped in an elevator with Lin-Manuel Miranda, and it is my Sartre. It is my no exit.
I hear you.
I kind of feel that way about Bob. But
really?
mostly because and also Neil Young. No, Neil Young is another one. These incredible musicians and poets and people who have a very distinct style, that their distinct style kind of bothers me.
Well, I'm going to tell you something.
Yeah.
The movie, pretty procedural, pretty straightforward, good performances, whatever. What really struck me and reminded me is oh my God, his music is wonderful.
Yeah.
And his music is a bop. I literally was snapping and jamming. And one time I got so lost in my snapping and my jamming, Bill literally had to move my hand because I was in his
blocking
way.
The view.
And it was like I got shook out of a reverie. I was just gone in the music.
All right.
So that was really cool.
That was awesome.
But I also felt, honestly, I feel like the film turns into a battle of the biopics. I think when you're doing a biopic, you can only have 1 to 2 people playing other real people. Otherwise, it just starts to be that is not Johnny Cash.
Right.
That's not Johnny Cash. Sorry, it's not. I feel like there was 1 or 2 missing scenes that really talk about when the break between him and Joan Baez happened, and Timothée Chalamet sings all the songs and does a great job, but it ain't Bob Dylan.
Right.
That ain't Bob Dylan.
Well, that is what I felt about Judy.
Oh, please. Have you ever heard Alexander Billing and Mitchell Fain talk about?
Oh, yeah. No. It's with that, we don't have enough time in the world.
Renee Zellweger as Judy. What was going on there?
No. Okay.
Is that what you're talking about? You're talking about her,
Yeah, I'm talking about Renee Zellweger as Judy Garland, but only when she sang. The rest of it, I was on board for. I thought, yes, but I am not I'm no Alexandra Billings, Mitchell Fain, obsessive about the Judy Garland. But I thought like her physicality was great. I thought she captured the spirit of this woman, this artist, this figure, historical figure, icon. But when she sang, that's where I'm like, no, because like Judy was the voice. Most of what Judy Garland was that voice.
I know.
And Renee Zellweger just doesn't have it. So for me, with Bob Dylan, he was like, it always just sounds like a car, and train, dessert.
That's some good songs, though.
Some of those songs, yes, again, I know, beautiful music, beautiful lyrics. It's the delivery that drives me a little kooky pants. Timothée Chalamet did a good job. Timothée Chalamet.
Here's what I'll say about Timothée Chalamet Ding Dong. I'm not sure entirely what I felt about his performance, but, go back to Call Me By Your Name. And
he's great.
A revelation he was, and amazing he was. And I kind of missed that. I was like, I don't know. Like, it was this weird mix of him and Dylan and... Not sure what was going on, but he did his best and he did well. But would I recommend it? I don't know.
Wow. Okay.
I don't know. I mean, I guess I would. Or I would just say go listen to some Dylan music, man, because that...
Okay, maybe I should just do some Dylan music.
Maybe a couple of songs you don't even necessarily remember or realize are his. And you're like, this is a jam. What is it? Oh, yeah.
Okay, this is what I'll commit to. I will go through and I will find out the songs that are played in that movie.
Yes.
And then we'll listen to them.
That's fair.
That's fair.
I'm going to tell you one more thing, Scott.
Please, yeah.
If you want a really powerful, wonderful Judy Garland performance, the TV movie Life with Judy Garland, Me and My Shadow, starring Judy Davis.
Judy Davis, yes.
She's so good. There's some scene where she's like got her worked into a tizzy and then she just throws herself into the swimming pool.
Yeah.
But it's a great performance.
Yeah.
I think that's even endorsed by Alexandra Billings, actually. Which means it is endorsed by,
the chosen one.
The chosen one.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, so I did my homework and I don't regret it.
Okay, and I'm
and
sorry.
And it's payback for all the book clubs where I'm the one who said, let's do a book club. And I choose a book and everybody buys the book and everybody reads the book except me.
Yeah.
So it's payback.
Yeah.
And I take it.
Not payback. It's atonement. How about that? How about
it's atonement.
Payback just sounds so aggressive. This is just more like, all right.
Yes.
I apologize again.
It's okay.
Because we did make a pact.
Let's not do that again.
We'll not do that again. And if I'm like, hey, I ain't watching it, I will let you know.
Let me know.
I will let you know.
Because I was up to the last minute. And we're talking last night we watched it. So.
Oh, it would have been last night for me too. We tried to find them like, let's just watch Drag Race. Is what we did. That's kind of where we are. But as long this is the hill I'm dying on.
Please.
The biopic that we all deserve that can only happen until one surviving band member is left is the Fleetwood Mac biopic of them recording Rumors.
Ooh.
That is because that's when they were all doing drugs and having sex with each other and breaking up and getting mad and ucky, and they were in that little cabins in the woods. That is the biopic.
That could be an interesting play.
Uh-huh.
Just because I'm really realizing with these biopics, I'm suddenly very dissatisfied with the Hollywood version of the performer, the Joan Baez woman. I mean, it's like Joan Baez was beautiful in that wonderful 1960s folksy way. No, she played another woman in his life. But, this girl was just your sort of, beautiful Hollywood actress playing Joan Baez. Great. She sang lovely, all that. But it's just no, she was such a unique looking woman, Joan Baez, and it can't get captured in the Hollywood version, but I think it could more so on stage.
Interesting.
Let's do it. Let's start writing after the show.
But didn't they already wasn't there sort of a Fleetwood Mac play?
I don't know.
That just happened with the
is that about
recording?
Fleetwood? No, Stereophonic.
Yeah,
but I don't think that's
But it's kind of loosely based
It's the idea, right. So we're going to just build off of that, Scott. We'll let you know when it will be debuting.
Okay, great.
Premiering.
Actually, it'll be premiering at The Good Man.
We'll fit it in between my Black Girl from White Suburbs show and your
Is that what it's
work.
called?
Suburbs. Yeah.
Suburbs.
White
Cul-de-sac.
Black Girl from White Suburb.
Suburb?
Yes.
Yes. But that's the one that I want.
Well, all right.
Done. We have solved all the world's problems. But hey, just a reminder, do you know that Out Chicago has its very own podcast? But actually, two. What? Out Chicago full episodes and Out Chicago featured interviews. Just search Out Chicago wherever you get your podcasts, or you can go to the podcast links on our show page by visiting heartlandsignal.com/out-Chicago. On that page, you'll also find our recent interviews with Michael Cheyenne, Randy Rainbow, Judy Gold, Chicago alderperson Lamont Robinson, Michelle Williams of Death Becomes Her, and more. Go to heartlandsignal.com/out-Chicago. I need to go back and see figure out how, if we keep all of these shows, because we've had some really cool people. I reached out to Lena Waithe.
Really?
When she was just coming, she just popping onto the scene. She was a producer on the film Dear White People.
Oh, gosh, yes.
And I was like, hi, you're from Chicago. I'm in Chicago. You're queer. I'm queer. Let's do this show. And she came on, and it was right before everything popped for her. Same thing with Randy Rainbow, because we've had him on twice.
Really?
I reached out to him. And I was like, hey,
where's he been? He's brilliant.
He's been touring.
Oh, good. Okay.
Yeah, no, Randy Rainbow has been he's been on the road. He's not only is he just making content as quickly as he can, but he's touring and he's on the road. We caught him just at the very end he came in through the Chicago Humanities Festival. And then he was like, I get a break. And I'm like,
you gotta love it. I really do enjoy when these content creators just become a part of the sort of entertainment zeitgeist, he got himself a tour by making his own darn content.
Yeah, well, that's another thing we can pick up. Yes, but I think there are some content creators who you can tell come from a live performance background.
Sure, yes.
And others that don't.
Oh, absolutely.
And those are the people that I'm happy. The people that have the live performance background, I'm so happy that they're going out and being amazing.
Yeah.
It's the other people who I'm like, oh, you don't quite know how to deal with this unless there's this phone in front of you.
Right.
That gets chaps my hide. But a lot of things chap my hide. But we should probably, before the station chaps my hide, we should probably take a break.
Goodness.
We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, it is the final thrilling show-stopping moments about Chicago right here on WCPT Heartland Signal.
Welcome to The Inclusive Voice with your host, Pam McElvain. Get some coffee, and here we have our leaders and trailblazers this morning that we're going to have a conversation once again about impactful change. We've come so far with race and racism in America, but we have so much further to go when you think about some of the racial incidents that we witnessed in our country, like slavery, civil rights, to the death of George Floyd and so many others.
The Inclusive Voice with Pam McElvain. Saturday at 7 a.m.
Mornings can start feeling the same. Wake up, brush teeth, go to work. But with breakfast from Wendy's, it's like, wake up, brush teeth, Baconate with a breakfast Baconator. Roll with the sausage breakfast burrito. Buddy it up with a honey buddy. Or get seasoned with seasoned potatoes. And then go to work. Sorry. When you're ready for a fresh wake-up call, gotta be Wendy's.
At participating U.S. Wendy's during breakfast hours.
Chicago's Progressive Talk, WCPT 820, where facts matter.
This is William Lindsay Cochran from the group Great Moments in Vinyl. You're listening to Out Chicago on WCPT.
And welcome back to Out Chicago. Scott Duff here, along with Tanaya Richards.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. That right there, that's your white girl from Black Suburb, Tanaya Richards.
Tanaya Richards.
Man, I feel like a woman.
Oh my gosh.
It's really Tanya Richard, host of the podcast Tanya's Take, as well as the one-person show Black Girl from a White Suburb, and a soon-to-be-released memoir of the same title. Hello. I'm so happy that you are here.
Thank you.
Today. Also because Ellen refuses to watch Drag Race.
Well, that's a shame.
It is a shame.
Yeah.
Are you all caught up?
Yes, I'm all caught up. And I was saying, so we recently got a new TV because we're very blessed. And it's a larger screen than we had before. And all fancy, right? We had a really old TV. Watching Drag Race on it is delightful. It's like being inside of a candy shop. Like
really,
the
just
colors. It's so fun.
Yeah, it's a lot coming at you.
Yeah, it's good.
I'm sure.
I love this group. I really do.
Do you?
I think they're talented. They're more talented than the...
let me tell you, they just did RDR live.
Right. Yeah.
Which is their version of SNL.
And as always, never as good as it could be.
Awful.
Pretty much.
Always awful.
Yeah. The caveman sketch. No.
No.
Yeah.
But Anya Nerve. I think Anya, she did a great job. And Lucy Toots.
I love Lucy Toots.
I'm becoming a big fan of the Lucy Toots.
So good.
I'm not a huge fan of her drag, though.
I thought her clown was hilarious.
Her clown was delightful.
And, of course, she reminds me so much of someone else from a season or two ago. They're almost identical, so I'm very confused. But other than that...
Are you thinking of Jimbo?
Not Jimbo, no. It was another sort of diminutive... 50s theater kid. I can't remember who they were.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they're very similar.
I think the other... I can't remember her name now.
I know.
Darn it.
But...
She's put out some revenge videos.
Oh.
That one.
Ooh.
That are fantastic. You can tell she's like, I'm a theater kid that comes from a lot of money because she's able to produce these things,
You gotta love the theater kid. Do you remember when we did 7 Rooms of Proust?
Yeah.
Scott and I did 7 rooms.
11. It was 11 rooms. There were 11.
6.5.
There were 11 of them.
11 Rooms of Proust. We did it at the Burger Mansion. It was an experiential show. Great.
Yes.
We did it with a bunch of kids from a college not so far from the Burger Mansion, and there was some wealthy kids in it. I just remember one girl lived in a high-rise. She had very wealthy parents, and there's nothing like a wealthy theater kid, man, because they will... they just have so much available to them, so much access.
I know.
And life just, it's that is not a burden they will have.
Can I tell you, because I attended that university that has all the rich kids there.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I do. It's called Northwestern University. It's in Evanston, Illinois. It's lovely. I was the financial aid poster child.
Yes.
And so it wasn't really until I started teaching high school that I realized how well off most of my classmates were.
Right, exactly.
When I was like, oh my gosh, it's just astounding to me.
It is. And she had a car, right? She had this beautiful apartment on Lakeshore Drive. And I just was like, there you have it, So it reminds me of on Drag Race. That if
bringing it back to that.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah,
that's
that
why.
Was good.
If that kid is super rich and making revenge videos and has no stresses or financial anyways, God bless for them.
Yes.
but it's a very specific type. It's a niche.
It is a niche type.
The rich theater kid.
The rich theater kid. Yeah, there are a lot of them, actually.
Well, and, also all the ones who act like they're not, but have their own theater companies, then it's like, how did that get funded? Sweat and tears.
Yes, hard work. Just hard work and daddy's bank account, Yeah.
Oh, well.
I know, all well. I know you watched A Complete Unknown. Have you ended up watching Emilia Perez?
No, I cannot.
Okay. Well, can I ask why?
Well, there's a number of reasons. Number one, I've started to hear from the trans community that it's actually quite offensive, and the director did not. It's set in Mexico, or Mexico is a huge
City.
part of it. Mm-hmm. He did no research on Mexico. He's like, why would I do that? He did not work with any trans artists to bring the story to to the fold except for the lead actress. And it just looks terrible. And I've seen some of the musical numbers, and I'm like, I'm not sure what's going on here or why it's going on. And now we discovered that the lead actress is really problematic.
Yeah, that's some new stuff that came out about her.
Yeah. I am not going to support something that seems to be willfully ignorant. I'm going to write a story set in Mexico. I am not going to research Mexico. I'm going to, as a cisgender person, make a story with a trans lead and not work with any trans creators. Okay. That's willful, and I just don't have time for that.
Okay. Interesting.
How about you?
No, yeah, I have seen it. I enjoyed it.
Did you?
I did. This was before all of the controversy came roiled up. And I guess what leads me to, I think, one of the bigger questions, because right afterwards, did we talk about this? I think I've already talked about this on the air, but I don't know if we've talked about it. Have you ever seen The Celluloid Closet?
Yes.
The documentary.
Yes.
It's a wonderful documentary. It came out in the 90s. It's about the presence of LGBTQ characters in cinema up until like the mid 90s. What's going on there and how gay people were portrayed.
Yeah.
And we watched this after we watched Emilia Perez, and then people started taking real issues with them. It was also early on in the whole conversation that was happening about the director and about the things about Mexico City and about the trans rights and all these things. Where it was people who were like having opinions without seeing it, like knowing like this is it, and they've seen a clip that is kind of taken out of context into the bigger thing. And then we watched The Celluloid Closet, and I was kind of like, oh, okay, yeah, this is how gay men were portrayed.
Yes, right.
Do I have a problem with that?
Tragic figures.
As tragic figures, as the punchline, as a lot of that. And it made me kind of just like, I think one of the bigger conversations, which of course we have like 7 minutes to have, but probably not. But when it comes to folks who have been left out of like the marginalized folks whose stories have not been told, when there is a story that is told, how important is it that it represents all of those people, especially when the communities all communities that are marginalized are not homogenous. They are, they're rich, they are varied, they're very diverse within the community. How important is that everybody is can see their story?
That's not my ask.
Right. No, that's my. But I mean, that I think is my ask too, because like kind of like when the movie Carol came out, with Cate Blanchett and Rooney Mara. There we are. Everyone's like, it's amazing. I'm like, I think it's boring and but it's like, but we're just so starved for seeing like a love story between two women or a complicated story, that do we just take the crumbs and are happy with that, or do we just like, ugh?
I don't think so. I mean, I think for me it is really about the specific creates the universal, right? So if you were to bring in trans artists, if you were to really do a deep dive on Mexico and feature things within the culture and the community, those specificities create this universal experience, not in the sense that it means it's going to be representative of everyone, but in that group, but it becomes sort of representative to everyone, period. Right?
No, I get that.
And I would, if I could identify myself in a story specifically about my lived experience that has this universal access, I think that's a beautiful use of art as we know it, And so for me, I can't condone, I don't want to participate in ignorance. Okay. Even if it's surface entertaining, even if there's something to garner, how much more could have been garnered if it had been within trans creators' participation, contribution. Mm-hmm. And the other thing is the guy is really callous about it. So then I'm really like,
the
you
French.
know who? Because he's just like, I don't care. Why would I look into Mexico? It's like, really? Don't you just want to be better? Don't you just want to learn something? What are these? What is Mexico there for then? Is it a set piece? There's actual people who live there and textures and sounds and foods. And, you know what I mean? So that's the type of storytelling I want. You know, they could do whatever they want. I'm just glad that now it's kind of maybe not going to win the Academy Award.
There we go. Heard. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Now, this is why I always enjoy Tanya's take.
Get out of here.
No, it's true. Because you offer up nuggets of wisdom.
Yeah. It is time. We have to tell our stories. We need to give the access that the folks from the dominant narrative have. And the people from the dominant narrative have got to stop snatching our stories.
It's true.
Snatching.
It's true. But then,
if they want to work in collaboration with us, if they want to amplify us, all for it.
Great. So we have, I have all these huge questions to ask now. I'm like, we don't have enough time.
Oh, no.
But that's it. But hey, so Tanya,
yes.
How can people find all of the amazing things that you are working on and to follow you on the socials, which always includes a gorgeous selfie of us.
Yes. It's
Every time you
I have like 20 photos of us.
I love it.
You can find me at Tanya's Take on the Insta, and that is where I've been posting a lot of videos on inclusion, as well as info about my solo show and, stuff and junk. And the podcast is archived right now, so you can find it where you find your podcast. I don't have my most recent episode actually has a performance from You're Being Ridiculous that I performed at Steppenwolf. So, and then you can search the archive. And I always think about bringing it back. I'm like, let's continue this conversation on a new episode of the pod. Who knows? That's the beauty of podcasting is you can always bring it back.
It's true. Girl, just let me know.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, I'd be happy. And
let me know if you want to get featured. Let's talk. If you have something urgent that you need to try to reach a lot of people with, again, I'm not acting like my blog is like whatever, but hey,
it could be, and getting the word out is
let's do it.
And it's unlocking your superpower.
That's right.
To go out and do good.
Yep.
To combat whatever's happening here.
The chicanery.
The chicanery. There we go. Yes. Well, that brings us to the end of another show. I want to thank our guests, Vanessa Severo, Go See Frida, a self-portrait at Writers Theater, and Luke Bromsberg. Again, centeronhalstead.org if you want to find out all the programming that's going to be coming up. Devin, amazing. Paul,
yay.
Amazing. Dylan, somewhere, thanks for the burger. There we go. Tanya Richard, you are a light in these incredibly dark times. I adore and love you. And I'm Scott Duff. And until next week, stay proud.
Try being at home with Patty Vasquez.
People who commit small crimes, petty crimes, or even violent crimes, they are more likely to be prosecuted